love the dance section.
Hi, my name is Gail DeWitt, and welcome to Conscious Contact. Today we're going to talk about healing and music, as Conscious Contact is about wholeness and reclaiming wholeness and expressing even greater wholeness, and we know that creativity is a part of that. So I have a guest today that exemplifies givingness and wholeness, and so I want to welcome Christopher Barron. Hi, Chris.
Hi.
And I just want to welcome Christopher to the show. I wanted Chris to come on the show because he's a great musician and a songwriter, and because I was very moved by the work that you do. So let's just start talking about you a little bit. Like, Chris, how did you become a musician? Like you mentioned very briefly, you're self-trained on the guitar. Say a little bit about your background, like, you know, where you're from and...
Yeah, well, I was actually born in British Guyana in South America, and then became a Canadian citizen when I was 9 years old. And I was actually very into downhill ski racing, and I had all these aspirations to win a gold medal in the Olympics. And I had a terrible accident. I hit a tree in a training run and broke my pelvis in 4 places and dislocated my hips and lost over half my blood supply and wasn't expected to live in the accident. And so my skiing career ended at that point. And a friend of mine asked me to come out to watch his band play. I came out there and he handed me a microphone. And I'm like, what do you want me to do with this? And he said, well, we don't have a singer, we need a singer. And I had no musical background. I didn't even really listen to music. I never played an instrument. And so just to get it off my back, I sung a little bit, and then the next thing was, it was my whole career and everything I was going for. So the ski accident was a great blessing because that ended that part of my life and, allowed me to start doing my music, which is the most fulfilling, amazing work that I could ever do.
So you trained yourself on your guitar?
Yeah.
So you sang and then you learned guitar?
I did. I always had these flaky guitar players that wouldn't show up for rehearsals or whatever. So I thought, well, I better learn a little bit so I can write a little bit on it. And then the next thing was, well, if I can just accompany myself a bit when I play. And then now I feel like I sing better with the guitar than without it when I'm playing.
Interesting.
So yeah, it's very self-taught, and I just kind of feel a lot of things and where to go to with my fingers and stuff.
So you were 9 years old, you got to Canada. Your friends tricked you into becoming a singer.
Yep.
Okay.
I heard a quote once that said there are 2 types of singers, those who choose to be singers and those that singing chose them.
You got chose by it, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Okay, so tell us about how you got here. I mean, so you move around a lot, and we're going to talk about that in depth, but how did you get to here? Like,
down the 10 freeway and then off on.
That's one way. But how do you go from, like Ghana to Canada to U.S.? Is it following your music?
Yeah, well, I moved here in 1994 to go to music school. So I went to Musicians Institute in Hollywood and graduated from there. And then I was playing and recording in Los Angeles and stuff. And then I went back to Canada and got involved with some nonprofit societies. And then...
Why did you pick nonprofit societies?
Again, I guess they kind of picked me.
Okay.
I went to the Philippines the first time, and I was doing a lot of playing at 5-star hotels and colleges, universities, and stuff like that. And then it was my first introduction to an amazing amount of poverty that I saw there that I hadn't been exposed to. And there's, of course, the culture shock and all that kind of stuff. And then I ended up having my guitar with me, and I started playing in some of those environments, and I just started to see how healing and uplifting it was for myself and for the people that were listening, and it just started to become a beautiful experience. And then from the Philippines I went back to Canada and then was involved with different organizations, and then they would take me to the countries and set me up tours. So I'd be playing at the college universities, and then orphanages that Mother Teresa set up, and blind schools. And
so when you went back to Canada and you joined organizations that would, what kind of organization, give it an example, what kind of organization does that? Would take you to another country?
Well, a lot of different ones will do that. Like, we would go out and do some fundraising, and I would go to like Walmart and Staples, and they would be very generous, and they would donate all this stuff. So I'd fill up a hockey bag, this mass bag full of all, soccer balls and pencils and pens and medical supplies. And then we would, I'd con the people at the airlines, like, not to charge me for that extra because it was going for the kids, and they'd always do that, and then we would go and distribute the supplies. So sometimes there were like 10, 14 of us, and everyone would be bringing supplies with them as well.
Okay.
So they would organize all of the trip, and yeah.
It's almost kind of like a ministry I know called Global Works. that it's very much kind of the work that they do in terms of bringing medical supplies or things for support to other countries. It's so, okay. 'Cause I was wondering, like, how does this guy get to all these different countries and do all these different things?
Again, it's strange. I just seem to be in the right place at the right time and meet someone from an organization that, that's heard my music or bought my CD, that's really excited about it, and then organizes the trip and we go. Yeah, I've been really blessed that way.
Is your background faith-based? Were you raised in a faith?
I was raised in Catholicism, went to Catholic schools and stuff like that. And as a result of that, I guess I kind of completely went away from religion and spirituality, and I wasn't even sure what I thought. I had a lot of problem with some of the issues with that whole thing, and then after that, I guess I just kind of. I guess when it was when I was overseas in those countries that I started to see the faith of a lot of these people and how they had nothing materially, and they would always say how blessed they were and be showing you pictures of their children, and they would always be praying and be, and I started, I guess, just to reconnect with my faith through them. And then looking back on my song lyrics I had written, they were very spiritual and very inspirational lyrics at times when I didn't even know that I believed in God or in anything, which was strange. Somehow I didn't realize that at the time. Somehow it would be
your
forming
focus
these
wasn't
songs.
on a religion or any kind of philosophy. It seems like it was on beauty or just a recognition of how you were viewing life in front of you, and you were speaking to that, not realizing that it's only one thing going on, so it always fits someplace else. You know what I mean?
No matter what name you call it, there's
yes.
one higher power.
So let's start to talk about some of the countries that you've been in, because I went to your website, and when I saw the pictures, I was really moved by them. Can you the other thing I was really moved by was hearing how you started to do the work that you do. Can you tell us about what the first thing that you started gave you a mission and a feeling for your music and doing what you do with it?
When I was doing music before, I recorded my first record at 21 and almost signed a big recording contract that, where they're promising us Ferraris if the record hit platinum and stuff like that. And that was a big part of my motivation. I wanted to be the big rock star and tour all over the world and, make lots of money and have my mansions all over. And, and why not, and there's nothing wrong with that, having that kind of abundance while you're here. So I ended up going on this trip to India, and I was in an orphanage where all the kids had polio. And about 6 kids had been held back from school that day, and they were in a separate room, and we were there seeing what kind of supplies they needed, because we were buying them a hot water tank and a water purifier. And I went into this room, and there were these children just sitting there like just shaking. They were in so much pain, and I was like, oh my God, what happened to them? And they had surgery that morning where they would put a block of wood in their mouth so they wouldn't bite their tongue off, and they would hold them down and break the bones back, because the polio, the atrophy of the muscles, would be forcing the bones to grow the wrong direction, and they couldn't afford anesthesia. So these children had had this procedure this morning, and they, some of them were just staring into space, some of them had their eyes closed and just shaking, and somebody asked me would I sing them a song, and I said, okay, but it's probably pointless because they're totally non-responsive. So I went in there, and as soon as I hit the first chord, it was a complete transformation. They woke up, and they actually, some of them sat up in bed with me and started singing along and clapping, and I got down on my knees and sung a verse of Roses Love the Rain, a song that's on my current record, to each little person, and it was just amazing. It was absolutely amazing, and they were happy, and I hugged them all when I left, and I got back in the truck, and on the way back to the hotel, I cried the whole way back, and I just was saying, God, if you support me in my music and supply the funding for me to do my CD, I'll continue doing this work and helping. And for the first time, I really saw the healing nature of music, and how powerful it was. And I guess that started to shift everything that I wanted to do. I still have a global vision for my music and taking it all over the world, but I guess my intentions are different. And you'd be using that as a platform to do the kind of work like Bono's doing, with the amazing work he's doing in Africa and such.
So you could still have a Ferrari.
Yeah.
And you can still have many mansions.
It's just going to be an electric Ferrari, so it won't be polluting.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's start to talk about some of the countries you've been in. I want to show some of the photos. Okay, now where is this? You are in India, right?
Yeah, that is in a city called Pune.
Okay.
And Ahmednagar is the actual city just outside of Pune.
Uh-huh.
And these people were the untouchables there. And that day there was probably
The untouchables? Like people can't touch them?
No, what it is, it's the lowest caste system in India. And so they are considered sort of, people treat them with less respect than anyone else in the country. They won't even look them in the eyes there. And so we brought a whole bunch of supplies with us to that place, and it was just amazing. They actually wrapped my head in that turban, and they did this whole ceremony when I was walking out from the car, but it was all in Hindi, so I didn't understand what was going on. And they put a bindi on me, and they were dropping rose petals everywhere I was walking, and I was thinking that was strange. And so I was up on stage, and the principal from the school said, "Why are you laughing? This isn't funny." And I'm thinking they're just having fun with the tourists with their turban. He said that we did this whole ceremony to turn you into a god, because we can't believe that somebody thought we were important enough to come all the way from Canada to perform for. And it was just the most humbling, beautiful experience. They were so adoring. And even though there's probably about 3,500 kids, and then the whole communities came. So I don't know how many thousand people there were in the end, but while I was playing, and somebody donated a big sound system and a big stage, it was absolute silence while I was playing, and then they would go crazy, and then I would get up to the next song. I mean, just with total reverence, and I just felt, such a connection. And my father's Bengali, so I'm actually half East Indian. So it was the first time that I had a chance to connect with my culture like that, and it was beautiful. Yeah.
Let's look at this next picture. Now where are you?
This is in Nepal.
Okay.
This is in a place called Nagakort, which is, my understanding is that it's one of the, or if not the highest restaurant and hotel in the world.
Okay.
And so I actually went up on top of the hotel on the bricks where they were doing a bunch of construction, so I had to be on not only the highest hotel, but on the highest part of the hotel to pose up there for a picture. So that was, again, that was very close to Mount Everest. So they're actually called the Himalayas. So in the background they're all there, but it was a little bit overcast that day. It was absolutely beautiful. So I was performing in front of Hindu and Buddhist temples and all kind of stuff there. And so I was singing at the restaurant as well, and it was interesting. Some days I was singing 3-4 concerts a day.
Okay.
And it was just a dream come true. It's what I love to do.
Wow, that's busy.
Yeah.
But I think when we're in our purpose and in our passion, we love being busy, and the day's full with what we're doing. That's my experience.
And the more energy you put out, it was like I had more energy than ever, no matter what I was doing physically, and when you're doing music and you're connecting with people and that energy is circulating between you.
Yes.
It's just beautiful. I can go all day.
Yes.
Day and night like that,
It's being served by your own service. That's what it is.
That's great. Yeah, being
that's
served
what
by
it
your
is.
own service.
I've seen clients, I've done a 3-hour workshop and seen 10 clients afterwards, back to back, like with, and had the same kind of energy. I was loving everything that I did so much, and it fed me so that I just kept going, and it was just like, oh, I'm so gifted to be able to do the work and what was happening. And so I understand totally that when we're on purpose, and that energy and the praise, thanksgiving, and the appreciation that comes back, it just makes you so humble and so grateful and energized.
Yeah, totally.
So I'm going to what's this next picture?
Oh,
I love this picture.
This was amazing. This is just outside, this is in Kenya, just outside Nairobi. And this, again, we came into the community, and all the kids lined the laneways singing these songs for us. And we came in, and so I'm actually teaching them. I have a song called Skies Are Blue on my CD that it's just a really fun one to teach. I'll teach the chorus and the bridge to the song. Okay. And when I was doing this particular photo, there's this part that goes bop, bop, a do. And so I was teaching this to them, and they're cracking up laughing. Now, everywhere I would go for the first couple of weeks, everyone was cracking up, and I couldn't figure out what was so funny. And a lot of the signs there are in Swahili and in English. I was calling it Swiglish. And so there was this big raid sign that said, "Raid kills doo-doo's dead." So I think they thought I was singing about bugs. I don't know. But it was just absolutely amazing. And these kids, and this is probably maybe 1/10 of the people that were in the picture. All the kids were in front like that, and the whole community again had come in. And so I taught them this song, and hearing hundreds and probably over 1,000 people singing that way, while I'm singing this song, it was just amazing. Amazing.
That's an amazing experience.
And music, and we would come in, and the kids wouldn't know who we were, the community, the teachers, so there's a little bit of distance there. As soon as I would get out the guitar and start playing, all of a sudden they'd be jumping on us, and there was this instant. Again, music is the international language.
Yes.
I mean, it's something you feel. And a lot of them didn't speak English. They didn't know what I was saying, but there was that beautiful
Yes. Yes.
openness between us because of the music.
Yes. Okay, so this next one.
This is in Peru, just outside of Lima.
Okay.
And
They're
again,
all in uniform.
you know, what was amazing in those countries is that education was such an absolute privilege, and most kids wouldn't be able to go, but yet they would have these beautiful press suits that would be immaculate, but yet they may go home to a shanty later, but their uniform would be just totally cared for. You know, and they may not even have books and stuff, but they would have these proper pressed uniforms. And again,
It's like having a satellite dish strapped to your
shopping cart, you know.
Okay.
Yeah. You know, and we actually had a big soccer game with all these kids later. It's Team Canada versus Team Peru. It was a blast.
Okay. Good deal. You're just having fun, huh?
Well, I bought one of the things that Walnut Mart donated was a bunch of soccer balls to me. So we pumped up all these soccer balls, and it's their sport there.
Okay.
You know, or football they
Okay.
call it there. You know?
Yeah. Fun. And so we've looked at the pictures, but there weren't any for Costa Rica, and I just want to hear about that experience that you had there. Why you went, what you were doing. Just give us some.
Costa Rica was really a unique experience because it started out as a vacation trip. I was going down there to surf and do some touring around and stuff like that. And I decided that I wanted to perform there. And this time I didn't have an organization for this trip. And I was at the farmer's market in Hollywood, and I had met someone a week previous and told them I was going to Costa Rica, and I was, you know, looking for somewhere to sing. And no, just I was going to Costa Rica. So she came up to me and she said, "Oh, you're going next week?" And I said, "Yeah," and that I still haven't found anywhere to sing. She said, "Well, my husband's brother runs an orphanage in San Jose in Costa Rica." I mean, the chances of that happening, so he was there. So she said he's going to talk to his brother and see if we can set something up. So it's just amazing how spirit works. If you want to learn to love somebody, you got to learn to love yourself. We got there and we met up with him and we went to a fundraiser at a very, very wealthy private school just outside Hako Beach, and which is on the coast. And we did a big fundraiser for the orphanage because they were actually in jeopardy of closing down there. And there's a lot of wealthy people there. So we did a little bit of talk and explained what was going on. And then I did a bunch of songs for all the people there. And then the next day we went to San Jose from Hako and then performed at the orphanage for all the kids there. So it was amazing how that one worked out.
Yeah, that's and isn't that the one that you did what they call like tree hopping, or you were you doing that? Tell me
we
about
went on
that
the zip lines.
Okay, what is that?
In this ancient growth red forest. So we would go up these trees and they would have these like zip lines set up like a cable from one to the other, and you'd be like on a pulley thing and you'd jump off and you'd slide all the way to the next tree platform.
So what you're doing is going from tree platform, swinging off on this pulley thing, and going to the next tree platform?
Like a trolley kind of, you're flying, it was, and you're in the very top of the treetops.
Do you do work like this in Canada?
Yeah, I would, well, one of the things I would, I've always performed a lot of children's hospitals, things like that, as well as the regular kind of, adult contemporary gigs and stuff like that. And then I'm also a co-director of the Agape Roadshow, which is here in Los Angeles. And so we go to prisons and hospitals, a lot of convalescent hospitals, children's hospitals, every Sunday, and I perform there. So they'll usually bring me a group of people, and I'll play for them, and then after that I'll go bed to bed to sing to people who can't leave their beds. And it's just absolutely amazing. Cornell Christensen is the director, and I'm one of the co-directors of the ministry, and it is just so fulfilling. I always go in there and feel like I need those people much more than they need me.
Yeah, it makes your life go around, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it's just amazing. And again, people in their beds in a lot of physical and emotional pain, and then you hit that first chord and something just shifts in them, and they just come alive, and and it definitely can ease their, one of the experiences I had in Canada, there was this little girl named Erica, and she had leukemia, and she was towards the end of her life, and she was a big fan of mine. She would take my CDs and sell them at the children's hospitals and sell them for me, and she was just amazing. And right towards the end of her life, her mom phoned me and said that, it's coming to the end, and, would I consider coming and singing for Erica? And I said, yeah, and so we scheduled it for like Wednesday, and I think it was on Saturday, and the next day was Mother's Day. And I got up that morning, and I just had this overwhelming feeling that I should call and go see Erica that day. And I didn't know why. And her mom said, yeah, come over. So I came over there, and her and her grandmother were there. And Erica was lying on the couch, and she had lost all kind of weight, and she was having a terrible allergic reaction from the medication she was on, and she was scratching and very uncomfortable, and just couldn't sit still. And so I started singing to her, and her mother and grandmother were like out of her field of view, and they were crying their eyes out. And so I'm trying not to look at them, and I'm trying to focus. And Erica was singing along with me on every song of mine. She knew every word to every song in this broken, tired little voice, but she's singing the best she can. And again, her body completely calmed down. She totally relaxed, and I stayed for a couple hours, and and it was everything to hold it together for me, because I knew this may be the last time I was going to see her, or at least I was going to come back on Wednesday to see her again. But it's just so sad to see her like that. And then when I left, same thing. I got back into my car, and I just lost it for half an hour. But I had to keep it together in front of her grandmother and mother. And later that evening, she passed. She transitioned, made her transition. So if I wouldn't have listened to my feeling about that, I wouldn't have had that experience with her. And her mother told me that she never went back into the painful part. She was very at peace after, I think I left there maybe 8 p.m. and she passed, I think, about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And but she stayed calm and wasn't alert, didn't have the reactions.
She'd been
like
nurtured in a place that really helped, that supported her.
And what a beautiful experience for me that I got to be, a part of her making her transition.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It was so emotional. But again, it's just the power of music and these experiences that I'm so blessed to have and to share.
Absolutely. So I want you to play one of the songs from your CD.
Sure.
And we're just gonna let you just play, and that's the way we're gonna end the show.
Okay.
But I am so grateful for your gift, for your music, for your CD, for your website, and all the work that you do. There's credits that roll and let people know how to get in touch with me, and I'll put them directly in touch with you.
Cool.
And
I've got a great website. All my songs are on there, and those pictures that you showed, plus a whole bunch more on there.
Yeah, they get a real flavor for what you do and how you serve, which is really just really beautiful.
Yeah.
So, okay. Well, so let's get ready to hear you sing.
Cool. Thank you very much for having me here.
Absolutely.
It's been really fun.
Absolutely.
Such a pretty soul all alone, a heart so full of tears. Such sadness blinds your eyes, loneliness your biggest fear. It feels like it's forever. Wonder what happened to that fairy tale. 'Cause every time your ships come in, only your dreams sailed away. Desperately you try not to cry. Dreams do come true, you pray. But do you believe you're worth it to turn this dark into day? If you want to learn to love somebody, you gotta learn to love yourself. There's romance all around you, but you feel like a flower in a desert sea. Thinking, maybe I'm not worth it, or maybe love is not for me. Like a child deserves their mother's touch, like a rose deserves the rain. Your desires are straight from heaven, and your prayers won't end in vain. The whole world feels your beauty, touched by the warmth within your eyes. But it's you who must believe it before your spirit can touch the skies.
If you want to learn to love somebody, you gotta learn to love yourself. If you want to learn to love somebody, you gotta learn to love yourself. There's a passion in your soul ready to ignite. If you'd open your heart, step into the light. If you want to learn to love somebody, you gotta learn to love yourself. Keep the faith in your dreams. They aren't as far away as they seem.